Hello, Iowa. Are you ready for a political revolution? And let me thank all of you for what you are doing to defeat the most dangerous president in the history of this country. We will not continue to have a president who is a pathological liar, who is undermining the Constitution, who is a racist, a sexist, a homophobe, a xenophobe, and a religious bigot, among other things. Donald Trump must be defeated. In this unprecedented moment in American history, we need to run an unprecedented campaign. The same old type of politics is not going to work. Continuing to be dependent upon the wealthy and the powerful for campaign contributions is not the way forward. We need to run a campaign that is focused on the needs of the working class of this country and is supported by the working class of America, black and white and Latino, Native American and Asian American. That is how we create the largest voter turnout in history. That is how we defeat Donald Trump. But here is the rub. The only way we create that excitement, create that voter turnout, is to do something not often done in American politics, and that is to tell the truth. And here is the truth as I see it. Because of the sweat and toil of the working families of this country, including undocumented families, the United States has become the wealthiest nation in the history of the world. But that wealth is not filtering down to ordinary Americans. In fact, as a result of a massive transfer of wealth over the last 4 decades, from the middle class to the top 1%, we now have more income and wealth inequality than at any time since the 1920s. While three people own more wealth than the bottom half of American society, 50% of our people are working paycheck to paycheck. 87 million are uninsured or underinsured, and 500,000 go bankrupt because of medical bills. In America today, working class families cannot find affordable child care. Young people cannot afford higher education or leave school deeply in debt. 500,000 people tonight are sleeping out on the street. Family farmers in Iowa, Vermont, and all over rural America are being driven off the land because of the greed of large agribusiness conglomerates. Rural America is in severe decline, and water systems are collapsing. So in the midst of all of these crises, among others, let me tell you my vision for the future and what America looks like under a Bernie Sanders administration. Trump's strategy is to win re-election by dividing the American people up. We will do exactly the opposite. We're going to bring all of our people together around a progressive agenda that works for all of us, not just the 1%. Under my administration, we will combat ferociously the systemic racism that pervades all aspects of our society. We will combat white nationalism in all of its ugly forms. And whether the 1% likes it or not, we will end the grotesque level of income and wealth inequality in this country. Yes, the rich and the powerful will start paying their fair share of taxes. Yes, we will create millions of jobs, rebuilding our crumbling infrastructure, and these jobs will pay workers a living wage, at least $15 an hour. And we are going to give workers an unprecedented opportunity to join unions. Yes, we're going to provide quality, affordable child care for all. And yes, we're going to make public colleges and universities tuition-free. And yes, we are going to make sure that every teacher in America earns at least $60,000 a year. And yes, in my view, health care is a human right, not a privilege. And we will pass the Medicare for All legislation that I introduced in the Senate. Under that legislation, there will be no premiums, no co-payments, no deductibles, no out-of-pocket expenses. You go to the doctor that you want, you go to the hospital that you want, and you will end up paying substantially less for health care than under a system which gives the healthcare industry $100 billion a year in profit. And yes, we are going to take on the greed, the corruption, and the price fixing of the pharmaceutical industry. And under Medicare for All, nobody in America will pay more than $200 a year for the prescription drugs they need. And yes, I am proud to have introduced the most comprehensive climate change legislation ever introduced by any candidate running for president or anything else. I know it's a radical idea because my administration believes in science, not politics. And we will hold the fossil fuel executives accountable for lying about the carbon production that they are now producing. We will stop all subsidies and tax breaks that go to the fossil fuel industry. And we will lead the world, lead the entire world, moving forward toward energy efficiency and sustainable energy. Now here is a dream, a vision that I want you to work with me on. Right now, in this world, we're spending $1.5 trillion on weapons of destruction designed to kill each other. My vision is that we bring the countries of the world together, that we use those resources to combat our common enemy, which is climate change. And yes, we will bring fundamental reforms to a broken and racist criminal justice system. We will end the war on drugs and legalize marijuana. We will end cash bail. And yes, when we talk about some of the horrific crises that we face, this president, unlike Trump and the Republican leadership, will not be intimidated by the NRA. We will do what the American people want us to do, and that is pass common sense gun safety legislation, including a ban on the sale and distribution of assault weapons in this country. Brothers and sisters, Nelson Mandela said something extraordinary, profound, which I think capsulizes what this campaign is about. He said, and I quote, "It always seems impossible until it is done." Do you understand what that means? It always seems impossible until it is done. Our job is to think big, not small. Our job is to have a vision of the kind of America we want that works for working people, not just wealthy campaign contributors. And this afternoon, I ask for your help to take on the greed and corruption of Wall Street, the insurance companies, the drug companies, the fossil fuel industry, the prison industrial complex, and the military industrial complex. Let us create a government and an economy that works for every man, woman, and child in this country, and not just the wealthy and the powerful. Thank you all very much.